You've given a number of very valid examples of the ways in which the non-Western world has practices that we wouldn't condone as Americans. Female infanticide, dowry killings, female genital mutilation. Your example just now of women in Egypt being raped and that law. I would make the suggestion that here you have, on some level, denied the existence of feminist movements in those parts of the world that are working against that, feminist movements that you might identify as leftist movements here in this country. I think you've done the same thing in denying the women of this country agency when you list the great things of America. All the examples you gave of were of men. You addressed Jean Kirkpatrick as a lady, not as a woman.
What's wrong with that? She's a lady.
You use the term, you always use the term men instead of men and women. And in addition, of the two women who've spoken before me, you interrupted one of them, interrupted me, and interrupted the person of color who has spoken.
Who was the person I don't even know what you're talking about, but go ask your question, come on.
And you have referred to black folks rather than black people at least once in the talk.
I referred to the folks in Afghanistan, too. Get me on that. I mean, you want to get me on everything, right?
I will not accept the disrespect from you. I sat here through your talk quietly. I took notes.
Let's hear your question. I mean, you're the one.
My question is, what is your response to these observations I'm making as a feminist in the United States who is in solidarity with the feminists working against female infanticide, working against dowry killings, and working to identify their own cultural customs which they disagree with?
Look, this is the bottom line. American feminists, if you talk to them, if you go to a women's studies course, if you sit in on a NOW meeting, the problems that they will confront women in the world include things like lack of sports teams for girls in high school or not enough tax dollars going to abortion. These are the ridiculous issues that feminists in this country are monomaniacally obsessed with. There are real problems facing women in the world. It's too bad American feminists ignore that, and they focus obsessively on problems that are basically non-problems. It's a joke. And so my reaction to it is I'd love to hear some feminists talking about these things rather than the fact that they're not getting, third trimester abortions paid for by the government, because that's what feminists care about in this country. If they really cared about women, they would be talking about things like female genital mutilation, dowry killings, and that sort of thing. They focus their energies almost entirely on America and the West, and we know that America and the West provide women with a better way of life than anywhere else in the world, and yet these people label America the patriarchy and all this sort of nonsense. So I don't think that your view of feminism conforms with reality. Yes, sir.